Hey everyone, welcome to Slow News Day Live. I'm Steve Poikinen. I'm here in the Santa Cruz Mountains. We'll be eventually joined by the full crew. Glory is having Everglades internet wonders as she is back home in the state of handguns and orange juice. I am joined by my better than your co-host, Ali Alexandra. What's going on, Ali?
Hello, what's going on?
Yeah, and back on the show with us is apparently the only financial disclosure reporter in journalism, and also apparently the only person to have noticed that like upwards of 1.5 million gallons of gasoline spilled out all over the state of North Carolina, and apparently also the only person who is still realized this while the Colonial pipeline has been having some technical issues. Robbie Jaeger from the MCSC network, welcome back, my brother. How you doing?
Doing just fine, man. Thank you guys for having me back again.
Yeah.
It has been a crazy last week. Absolutely.
It really has been, and like it. We had you on just recently too because there were some developments with the Colonial pipeline spill, and a new deadline was set, and there was a new estimate in terms of how much was spilled. There was some weirdness going on with some claims about like we've collected 1 million gallons of gas, whatever the fuck that means, and then the hack, and so now here we are. And what the fuck's going on?
I mean, quite honestly, I know as far as the hack goes, I know as much as what everybody else does. Essentially, I mean, this is the type of thing this is the access journalism part of things that I don't really have, I don't really do. But because a lot of the reporting that's coming out right now are based off of some kind of anonymous sources, either within the company or within the not State Department, or within some federal agency that's commenting on the matter. And we all know how that goes, right? And then, of course, the alleged group that did the hack, right? They're completely anonymous themselves. And as a matter of fact, I mean, don't they outsource their software to other people who then use that software to basically do what they want with it? So you don't really have any kind of real ownership in any of the sources for any of this reporting. But again, the reporting itself just isn't adding up. Even among mainstream sources, certain things just aren't adding up. And it's like I said, it's just been crazy. It's been crazy. This whole entire thing's been a mess. I mean, because that we just saw a Bloomberg article drop today. Where they basically said that Colonial paid the ransom $5 million in cryptocurrency on Friday, and then denied it earlier this week. Denied that they had done it. That had they even done it yet? And yeah, that's crazy. That's
well, we're gonna pull that up real quick.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Colonial Pipeline paid nearly $5 million to Eastern European hack. Do they know that? On Friday, contradicting reports earlier this week that the company had no intention of paying an extortion fee to help restore the country's largest fuel pipeline, according to two people familiar with the transaction. Company paid the hefty ransom in difficult to trace cryptocurrency. Love how they set that up. Within hours after the attack, underscoring the immense pressure faced by the Georgia-based operator to get gasoline and jet fuel flowing again to major cities along the eastern seaboard. A third person familiar with the situation said U.S. government officials are aware that Colonial made the payment.
Okay. So, I mean, let's just like pausing right there. You already see, for one, obviously the reliance on anonymous sources, right? But the one thing that's kind of helping it in this case is that there are multiple sources that are all saying the same thing. And given that it's such a sensitive situation, you can only imagine why they wouldn't want to put their names on it. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation. But I mean, also, you saw how they, they painted cryptocurrency as like a negative in this case, right? It was a very sly move but they made it so where it's like, oh, well, if they had basically implying had they paid in cold hard cash or like with a credit card, we'd been able to trace it. But, since they got cryptocurrency, this is the danger. We're,
Yep.
you're going to, very negative connotations for cryptocurrency there. But yeah, just that initial paragraph is full of just contradictions with everything we've been being told for days now. Again, they said within hours after the attack, Colonial paid up. And then they spent all this week saying that they had no intention of paying up, even though they already had. And that kind of corroborates reporting from another journalist that I need to find her name right now, because I don't want her to go uncredited, because she too had sources close to the situation that were telling her that essentially, since the hack itself didn't affect the operational side of things, it really just affected like IT stuff. So payroll, accounting, emails, stuff like that. And she basically was saying that part of that was the ticketing system that allows them to invoice the customers so they can get paid for the fuel that they ship. And since that was not working, they shut down the pipelines. So because obviously they also threw in that it was out of caution, but also because they could not get paid. And until they got paid, they weren't going to, or until they were able to get paid again, basically, they weren't going to reopen the pipeline. So that tells you all you need to know right there. And if they paid the ransom right up front, but still continued to keep it shut down for days afterwards, that kind of backs that up, But again, like all this is here we go. Her name is Kim Zetter, and she is an independent journalist that she writes for Substack. I don't see any so I mean, but that's her reporting. Kim Zetter. Yeah, she's what she says. Yeah, I mean, and like I said, that kind of corroborates what we've heard now from Bloomberg, is that this decision to keep the pipeline shut down as long as Colonial did was, 100% on Colonial.
Yeah.
Not on the hackers. I mean, it's easy to blame them for attacking, right? But in the end, this is Colonial is 100%, or I would say 99%. You can go ahead and put the hack attempt on the hacking group, right, as it were. But don't you think a multi-billion-dollar pipeline should have a little bit better cybersecurity? Don't you think that the entire handling of the situation was completely fumbled and outright lied about, as it turns out?
Well, and here's the other thing with ransomware. It's not like that's a brute force hack and you're dropping a virus into the system. That's so like normally that's like you get fished in or some shit, and so there's one particular device that's ultimately accountable for this, right? Essentially.
I mean, yeah, basically that's what it seems like.
So it's up to whatever network security they have to then combat it. But because of the nature of a ransomware hack, there's like a couple of different completely compartmentalized entities involved. And then on the opposite end, it's going to be like a board or management decision as to whether or not to pay the ransom, which Colonial obviously did, apparently within hours, but didn't turn on the fucking pipe until yesterday.
Right.
And I just want to kind of, oh shit, no, I did. Okay. It's still up here. Yesterday, as all of this was happening, I was getting a bunch of updates through Christian Westbrook, the Ice Age farmer. And I mean, there was panic buying has emptied 28% of North Carolina's fuel stations. More than 17% of the stations in Georgia and Virginia were dry Wednesday. States as far as West Virginia and Kentucky are also running out. Major metropolitan areas have been hit hardest by the shortages, with more than 70% of the stations out of gas in Charlotte, Raleigh, and Greenville, as well as roughly 60% in Norfolk, Atlanta. I mean, this was, dude, and as this was happening, a crack on a bridge out of Memphis across the Mississippi was discovered, so they shut down the bridge. And then the Coast Guard shut down water traffic.
Mm.
And like there was this perfect storm of supply chain fuckery. I mean, for something apparently unnecessary is where I was headed, at least in terms of Colonial. Because they had paid I don't know if they needed to wait over the weekend for confirmation that their payment had been, it's stupid because that's not how crypto works. But they really went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday into Wednesday, almost a full week, 6 days of just shutting down the ability for people to, shutting down the supply chain.
Yeah.
Glory's flight got canceled.
Right.
She was supposed to fly out the day before, but because there was no fucking fuel going to her connecting flights airport, none.
Just canceled.
Yeah.
Sorry. I have some questions.
Yeah. Because none of it makes sense. And,
right.
And here's the thing. I live 15 minutes away from Raleigh. I saw firsthand the type of panic buying and gas lines and gas stations being completely bagged up, on every pump. Because some were out completely, some around the area where maybe they got lucky and still had some fuel coming. And those were the ones that were literally 7,500 cars deep, wrapped around themselves 2 or 3 times, spilling out into major highways. And yeah, people are panic buying. And, I've seen a lot of people try to blame the people for panic buying this gas. And look, there is an extent to where you're filling up Rubbermaid containers, giant totes and stuff full of gasoline. Okay, you are going too far with that. But you paid for it, so there's that. But
right.
Regardless, that's truly not necessary. But for the average citizen that hears that a major gas pipeline, the biggest, the most important one on the Eastern Seaboard, gets shut down, is that not a natural reaction to say, hey, I'm going to go top off my tanks, maybe even fill up, a gas canister, just in case, because we don't know how long it's going to last. And I think it's just absurd that so many of the, elitist pundits out here want to kind of talk shit about the people in states that are running out of gas for panic buying. What are they supposed to do?
Especially after the last year and a half, however fucking long it's been at this point with COVID, think how people reacted after that. So it's, people are just at this point, anything big, I think they're going to go out and panic buy. I don't blame them. Yeah. Even Biden was like, don't go out and do that. Don't hoard.
And right. And I would also kind of put that between is it necessarily a panic buy whenever you find out that there's going to be a fuel disruption and you go fill up your tanks? That's not necessarily a panic buy. That's called preparation.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we don't know how long it's going to last. And obviously we can't trust what Colonial is saying or what the government tells you, obviously.
Right.
And they're the ones that are informing the media, that are telling you everything. So you have to always, you don't listen to that. You just listen to your gut that says, hey, I'm going to prepare myself. I'm going to go to the gas station. I'm going to top off my cars. I might fill up a gas canister. That's totally logical behavior. That's not panic buying. Yes, going out and filling up giant tubs again of gasoline, while, like I said, you're paying for that gas. So, I mean, technically it's your right, but it's also, yes, that's unnecessary. And it would contribute, to, but, honestly, I think that this is all on Colonial. Yes, they got hacked, but obviously their cybersecurity system was completely inadequate. And for a multi-billion-dollar company owned by Royal Dutch Shell and Koch Industries, with some of the, biggest, financial backers in the world. Again, probably the most powerful pipeline company in the country. And mistake me or correct me if I'm wrong, Steve, but I'm pretty sure I saw some kind of analysis or comment from either Cyber Reason or FireEye regarding the sophistication of what DarkSide uses, and they said that it's nothing special. Am I wrong by recalling that? I mean, I can't recall the actual firm that said it, but I mean, I think that this was in reference to DarkSide's SolarWinds incident, not the Colonial.
No. That you do have that backward. The SolarWinds hack, at least according to FireEye, what they were describing was more or less Marble Framework, the CIA's hacking tool out of Vault 7.
Okay.
And that was hella weird because FireEye has In-Q-Tel funding for their startup. And so they became a company with CIA hedge fund money as Marble Framework was being developed, like as that program was being built.
Right.
So, it's not like FireEye would be unfamiliar with that tool, but I think the quote, I don't have the article up anymore. The quote was more like they could remove the back doors that they used to get in. It was sophisticated. The ransomware that DarkSide creates, highly sophisticated. The methods by which the hackers get it in, that doesn't have to be like that. That could, that's up to the individual hacker.
Right.
But in terms of what, of the the virus itself or whatever it is they're infecting the system with.
So the virus is complicated, just like how to get it in there. Say, like, if you don't fall for the fish, then you don't have to worry about it type shit. Am I wrong? I mean, I defer to you on this stuff because I'll be the first to admit I am not educated a lot on the subject.
That
honestly varies case by case with the hacker that gets the ransomware on there. Sometimes it'll be more sophisticated. Sometimes it'll be fucking just low level shit, almost like the Podesta emails,
right?
Where your password is password.
And that's what I keep expecting to find out from this, because we know how they inspect their pipelines. Right, it's taken them 8 months, and they still can't tell us how big the Huntersville spill was. So I wouldn't expect their cybersecurity system to be much better than a password named Password. Right. Do you think that normal? I mean, look, I would hate to believe that a multi-billion-dollar pipeline company is just like running Norton. Don't you think that they would probably? I'm being honest. Don't you think they'd normally have something a little bit more sophisticated than that?
Yeah.
And you would expect.
Can you weigh in on that?
Should it not be difficult? And here's the thing, guys. I've been doing some research into lobbying stuff, and I saw there's been quite a few pipeline-related cybersecurity bills come and go through Congress over the last few years. All of them dead, pretty much, or dying at the end of the last session.
Right.
And some of them, it looks like Colonial Pipeline and the oil and gas industry as a whole lobbied in favor of. And here's what I've been able to glean from why they would do that. There's really only one thing that the oil and gas industry don't want when it comes to cybersecurity, and that is mandatory federal regulations governing the sophistication or just the level of cybersecurity that you have to have. Like they don't want mandatory standards,
right?
And that is, they will go along with pretty much anything. It seems like, you know, as long as the information sharing between agencies is voluntary, meaning, you know, obviously if they don't want to tell you that they even got hacked at all, they don't have to. They don't have to give you pretty much anything. And they want to keep it that way because, as the American Petroleum Institute says, is that it's, you know, they want autonomy on the issue. They don't want to be told what to do by the federal government in terms of cybersecurity. They're going to have a hard time now because now that it's going to be super politicized, I can hear it now. There's going to be lots of cybersecurity bills coming out of the left and right, and there's going to be lots of lobbying activity on those, I'm sure. But this is a reap sow situation here with the pipeline, with Colonial Pipeline, because again, they've spent years lobbying again to influence legislation and as far as cybersecurity on their pipelines, to basically say we want to write our own rules, just like they do on inspections, just like they do on everything else. So far, the U.S. government has allowed them to and paid no attention. That's why these bills just die, because they just float in committee because nobody cares. And now we've seen the fruits of that labor, right? I mean, they wanted to write their own rules on inspections. We get record-breaking spills. They want to write their own rules on cybersecurity. We get hacks and shutdowns. How long until we actually do something about that? Isn't there a trend? Maybe they should stop getting to write their own rules. I mean, it's very simple.
Robbie, that's not profitable for the stock market. Come on.
That's very
but
true.
I don't like what's coming ahead either. So it's like I would love that, but now the federal government is most certainly stepping in. There's going to be a lot of. I mean, Biden already passed or signed an executive order. Not that that's he's done that a lot. Every president does, but it's just there. I see the federal government taking this as more of like the opportunity to go regulate like things like the crypto world.
But
It's
yeah,
gonna
so here's
go
the focus
in that direction.
This is what is so fucking fascinating about this story. And welcome, Glory.
Hi, Glory.
Your interwebs got at least temporarily sorted. There's so many different ways this goes. There's so many different directions it goes, or at least like roads it initially branches off.
Yeah,
but
they're knocking
all
off. Yeah.
roads lead back to Klaus.
Yes.
Did y'all pull up the tweets yet, or
no? Haven't done any of that yet. We've still been just kind of breaking down what happened with. And look, man, for anybody who wasn't like, if it wasn't clear, Colonial paid the ransom immediately, nearly $5 million, according to the source that confirmed the transaction, within hours of receiving the ransomware notice. For 6 days, or for the nearly 6 days, they kept the pipeline shut down, fucked over the supply chain, created fuel shortages and panic buying, when apparently they did not need to because they had immediately paid the ransom.
And depending on what we hear from our friends about DarkSide, a lot of things could fall into place, especially when you see that people are clearly using this hack to push some kind of political agenda, whatever it be, without any regards for the actual spill. Like there's so many people pushing, like real quick, I'll show the Sunrise tweet, and this was something that was actually shared by the actual Sun. Robbie, I'm sorry, Robbie. I have to. I know.
Oh God.
But like, and this was something that was retweeted by like the blue check Sunrise as well. Basically, they said, it's almost like we need a just transition from Colonial Pipeline's crumbling, fragile fossil fuel infrastructure to a green economy. Major key, we put people to work with living wage union jobs and refine public safety with real living conditions. # Green New Deal, # NC poll.
Yeah.
Hey,
what's the Clean New Deal? As you were like.
Yeah. And you know
Yep.
what? While we're at it, I have another callous statement to pull up on that note as well. Let me make sure I'm sharing the right one.
Do not spill too much gasoline, because then you will not be able to eat the bugs.
My goodness, Steve. You really do love that accent.
Yeah, you do.
So,
Funny.
from our good friend, Peter Hager, who runs the Jen Perlman Twitter account, the Colonial Pipeline cyber attack is yet another reason to transition away from fossil fuels. Our clean energy future is solar, wind, geothermal, but a bunch of shit that they don't know about. I am open to new nuclear as a transitional energy source away from coal and natural gas.
That is
So-
okay. Look, let's break that all the way down. if
Yeah,
we
well
could.
let's start with this. None of them mentioned the spill.
No.
All right, y'all
How
really.
about before advancing agendas, we focus on mitigating the effects of the largest gasoline spill in history?
I feel like you guys set me up to piss me off on this.
No, man.
Yeah,
No.
no, because like y'all wanted me to go off because I'm about to go
No,
off.
Robbie, trust me,
I really
this is how I
did.
feel every time we go over a Cory Morningstar article.
I mean,
Yeah,
but
I'm like, Steve, you better expect some fucking rants today. Like, trust me, I feel you.
no, look, I don't know what the hell Jen was talking about. Whatever, that's but that Sunrise Movement tweet that pissed me off. Like that really makes me angry because for one thing, I'm a North Carolina resident. Obviously, for a lot of people that don't know that, I live right here. That Sunrise Movement, the specific account that tweeted that out was the Sunrise Movement chapter for the state of North Carolina. Who, again, I've reached out to hubs from the Sunrise Movement in Durham, from Sunrise Movement in LA. I've reached out to multiple Sunrise hubs, North Carolina. Even publicly called for the Sunrise Movement National branch to say something about, like, again, what could be the largest pipeline spill in the history of the country, which they have been absolutely silenced about. And it's kind of funny, which is, again, how I'm right about this subject, again, when it comes to both politicians and specifically Sunrise Movement, because you notice while we were pleading for months for somebody to say something, somebody in a position of power or influence to say something, people that are supposed to care, and yet we were ignored until it was headline news on some other shit. And now it's politically expedient for you to tweet about it or for you to talk about it. Same goes for a Democratic senatorial candidate running for our Senate seat that Senator Richard Burr is retiring in 2022. His seat is up for grabs. There is a candidate named Erica D. Smith who is running on the Green New Deal. She's a progressive. She's adopted supposedly Bernie Sanders' entire platform. So I reached out to her in a tweet originally and brought my articles to her attention regarding the spill. And this was back a couple of months ago. I got an email or I got a DM that said, hey, email me what you have about the spill and, make sure you CC my campaign manager or my communications director. I'm sorry. I did that. I gave her everything I had. And like, again, that was months ago. Nothing from her personally, nothing from her on social media, no statements at all. Until, again, guess what? Colonial Pipeline is making national news now. Now she can fundraise off of it. That's what it seems. Again, like, where were you whenever you requested the information about the spill? And you got it. I gave you everything I had, and all I wanted was a simple statement. Like, I'm not expecting you to go to the spill site and pick it. I'm just say something, right? That's all I was asking for out of all of that. 3 articles and like a paragraph and a half of an email. I'll just say one thing.
Yeah.
And can't even do that until people are literally running out of gas. And this still happened in your backyard. And that's the thing, is that the spill has been totally ignored. And it's not just by media, even though, again, as you guys mentioned, every single mainstream media article, every single article in general about this hack has somehow conveniently failed to mention that Colonial Pipeline Company is under federal investigation by the Pipeline and Hazardous Materials Safety Administration for not only their record-breaking spill in Huntersville, but also decades-long neglect and a history of spills. And again, the neglect that has made all of the spills a million times worse. So I mean, it's just been egregious on all levels. And for Sunrise Movement in particular, it just proves me right again. They don't do anything unless it's politically expedient. They don't do anything. And it's a joke. They're a joke. 100%. They're a joke. Like,
Yeah,
don't
I mean,
show
for
up
no
now. Go ahead. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
for no one to mention the spill is like when you have, I don't know, several press freedom advocacy groups in a meeting with Secretary of State Antony Blinken, and not one of them mentions Julian Assange, while the Secretary General of Reporters Without Borders, Christoph, is out here tweeting how honored he is to be in that meeting, and retweeting Jim Acosta bragging about the U.S. being upgraded in the what do they call it? Reporters Without Borders Press Freedom Index. The callousness of these people, it never ceases to amaze me. And I mean, like, I'm not asking for all these people tweeting about, this is a great chance to push for a green economy. Like, I'm not asking for them to become environmental scientists or environmental reporters, but I'm just asking, take a step back and look at what the political agenda you're advancing is going to do. Because it's only going to lead to more exploitation in the name of Fourth Industrial Revolution, in the name of the Great Reset, in the name of smart cities. That's what it is. Like, it's not a real Green New Deal here. Like, this green economy isn't any of that because, hey, guess what? It's still an economy, so it can't be green. And it's like people pushing for it without even... It's like you said, Robbie, I understand where the anger comes from. People using this hack to push for their political agenda that will only end in more exploitation and more co-option, but without even mentioning the spill. That just shows you where they lie. That just shows you how they actually care. Because, hey, guess what? I mean, don't do it, but you can still use the spill as a chance to push all your points. But you don't, because they don't actually care about the environment.
No, they care about, whatever. I don't know what they care about. They say they care about the environment, but they obviously don't. I mean, it's not like it was just a couple of drops somewhere. I mean, like, again, this was 1.2 million gallons and growing, because I mean, their monthly report from April just said that they recovered over almost 1.1 million gallons. That ratio of recovered on Steve. I mean, I know you grin every time I use that phrase. I use that phrase. That's because that's what the company uses.
I mean,
so I try to quote them. Look, I'm not super in depth on all the science, but it is a well drilling process that the groundwater seeps into the wells they drill, and it is somehow in areas pure petroleum in some areas, and in some areas it's petroleum mixed with groundwater. And so whenever they report that they've recovered 1.1 million gallons of petroleum in it was close to 2 million gallons of petroleum contact water, or diluted petroleum, basically. They're basically getting these from wells that they've been drilling all over the site. But again, recovering 90% of your spill when it's that large, if it was just a few hundred gallons, yeah, I would accept that.
We're still talking about a couple 100,000 gallons that's been in the groundwater now.
I mean, what you're saying is that there's no way in hell you've recovered 1.1 out of 1.2. You've recovered 1.1, probably somewhere in the range. I'm afraid this is going to come back at a 1.8, maybe a 2 million gallon spill. And then of course the media vultures, they'll come. They will cover this eventually.
Yeah.
But I think what we've been seeing, as Glory mentioned, is like it's very agenda driven with what we are, with the reporting on this thing, and it's hard to believe any of it because, like, I'm a huge cynic. I mean, there becomes a time to where people just have more access than us and are going to report on that access and what they hear. We have to consider the sources, as Glory said. I mean, we don't know anything about Dark Side. I mean, look, I, for all we know, they could be an op. Like, I don't know. Like, nobody knows.
That's
Get on it, guys.
I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, nobody knows because everything's completely anonymous. All of the sources in the reporting is completely anonymous. We're dealing with corporate media, intelligence agencies, and oil and gas companies, all of which make their living off of lying to everyone. So,
yeah.
what do we really know about this?
The more I'm reading this executive order, it's just so excuse me, it's so convenient. I'm actually like really far into it right now. This is also fucking convenient. That's all I have to say. I mean, it's like you couldn't have written a better story for this to come into play. This executive order is like, it's wild. I mean, I know most people haven't read it yet, but this one I actually want to.
I just saw the clip.
Yeah, my head's like, bleh. Yeah, it came out May 12th. So that was yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I said it. So it's essentially, we face persistent, increasingly sophisticated malicious cyber campaigns that threaten the public sector, private sector, and it's essentially putting out directives like to remove barriers to sharing threat information. So it's going to establish this platform where the public and private sector can exchange information. But I don't see it as that. I see it as more of like, you're going to comply with our standards that we're going to put out, the federal government. They're going to issue out various NIST is going to be involved in issuing out different like labels for
NIST.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there's NIST all over this. There's hardly shit about the environment in here. Yeah. They're talking about how like different software programs now are going to need, based on NIST evaluation, like basically like a stamp of approval. So no, it's not the federal government necessarily taking over the private sector in that capacity, but they're investing in it because that's how it's going to boost the market, they say. But eventually what's going to happen is that if your software or whatever you're doing doesn't comply with these standards that are going to be put into place, you're out of business because companies are going to be forced to do that. They're talking about the Internet of Things in this executive order. So that's like literally what I'm doing right after this, is just like diving in, because there's a million things that Biden's doing right now that I want to jump on, but because this is hard. You don't even see shit about the environment here. It's all about the infrastructure. I get that, but it's all about protecting, like, from these hackers. They even reference like whatever happened in December 2020 to trigger this. So they've been working on this for a minute, and this was just the perfect opportunity to like kind of bring it to fruition. There's even a part I was writing down. They've kind of been working on this since 2016. This was in July of 2016. That was when Obama was still in charge. Yes, I've lost track of time. Yeah. So yeah. I think that,
you have a link for the order, Ali, by any chance?
Yeah, I can post it again in the element. I do.
Give me a sec. I'll drop.
Otherwise, yeah. Sorry, I would have just put it on the screen. But there's so much. And there's also like just
Oh,
there it is.
Did you find it? Oops. Well, I posted it just in case.
Executive order on improving the nation's cybersecurity.
This is like my go-to for these kinds of things. Thank you. Gotta learn to do that.
I got you. Scoop gang in that.
Thank you kindly.
God, why can't they just put it in bullet points? Why do they literally have to transcribe his?
Oh, bro, I don't know how much time
like,
you have, Robbie, but there's a couple of other things that I would like to pull up and go through while you're here too, just so that we can kind of, because again, the tie-ins with crypto, the tie-ins with the Green New Deal, the tie-ins with the Fourth Industrial Revolution and the Great Reset are like saturating this thing.
Damn it.
I'll go through it more later.
And I mean, this is everything, and this also incorporates the DHS memos that like Whitney's been on a number of times talking about, warning about the cyber pandemic. They're actually going to war game this in just like over the weekend or next weekend at the Cyber Polygon thing. like this exact scenario was supposed to be getting war gamed.
Didn't we see articles
Yeah.
just like a few months ago warning of gas shortages ahead?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know, like that they've already like built it into your brain that this is what's going to happen. You know, I mean, and as far as like how much time I have, probably got about like 15 minutes. You know, before I got to scoot. But yeah, but like
gang.
it's, but it's. I don't even know what to say at this point. You know, about really the remainder of the story is just because you know everything is just all too convenient from the timing of the hack, from the the group itself. I mean honestly, like I look at everything skeptically. I don't know what to believe until I can see some kind of receipt. So which is going to be damn near impossible in this case, and we all know it. And eventually, we're going to have to just take someone's word for it or not.
Well, and there's a couple of things around ransomware too, and certainly given what you do with the financial disclosures, this may be something that's already publicly available. But I didn't know this until I started pouring through the document. There's ransomware insurance.
Yep.
I mean, it's like you said, Robbie, there's so many agendas that can be advanced with this Colonial pipeline hack. And there's just like so many different angles to take. And
that's why it's hard to wrap your head around it.
MCSC, we will do our best to at least introduce them to you because who the fuck else will?
And you see it being politicized already, but on some really smooth-brained levels, right? Like I've seen people on the left, that just are so concerned about the cybersecurity part that they're going to be willing to sign everybody's rights away in order to make sure that this never happens again. I'm 100% sure of it because that is the way that the liberal, centrist liberal ideology always works. That's what got us the Patriot Act. It was not the Republicans that gave us the Patriot Act, guys. I mean, Joe Biden is on record like he's the godfather of the Patriot Act.
Proud of it.
But also on the right, you're seeing, well, we shouldn't have closed down Keystone XL, looking kind of stupid there, and calling Biden Jimmy Carter 2.0 because of the gas lines. And for one thing, that shows a complete lack of understanding about what the fucking Keystone XL actually was, because the Keystone pipeline itself still runs. Keystone XL was going to be moving a shit ton of tar sands out to China, which would have helped zero in the Colonial pipeline case in either regard. But also the fact that is it not just a malpractice of journalism that nobody knew the name of the most corrupt fucking pipeline company in the entire country until this week? It's been around for 60 years. And nobody ever talks about it until it kills 30,000 fish in a river or explodes and kills 3 human beings. That was just 4 years ago. We had this happen. I've been on the show talking about this type of shit, like exactly what happened in Birmingham, Alabama 4 years ago, 6 years ago at this point almost. And, explosion during a repair, kills 3 people, shuts down the pipeline for a week, gas shortages, gas lines, prices go sky high. Just like they're doing now, prices are as high, as 7-year highs, right?
Before you get out of here, we had a super chat or super ray come in from our good friend, the Shadow Band Refugee. He says, great work on the pipeline. He says, I've worked in oil and gas for years. The supply chain is built for 5+ weeks before a shortage. The story we got is horseshit. Also, how long are we going to continue our abusive relationship with Alphabet Corporation being censored for speaking out against fascist states? Rock fam must grow. We scream for BDS against Israel, but continuously support their apologists on YouTube. I dropped a live link to our current live stream on Odyssey.
What a super A. It's always appreciated.
I mean, get it in, Jones. Get it in. There's another. There was at least one more tip on the rock thing too. So,
all right, give me a sec. It's always appreciated.
But yeah, I mean, 5 weeks is what, according to the refugee there, 5 weeks. Like, you should be stocked up in accordance to preparing for something, like an interruption in the supply chain.
Right. I mean, and you would expect, like, again, this pipeline is the largest one in the country. It runs 50% of the Southeast fuel. It's like accounts, I guess, 20% overall or something close to of the entire nation's fuel. And this should never ever happen. Like, never ever happen. And the fact that things like this continuously happen, specifically with Colonial, and yet nobody ever knows anything about any of it. I mean, that's the thing, is that people have been the media in particular, in political operatives also in particular, have got everybody so wrapped up in Keystone and so wrapped up in DAPL, that they don't even know what the hell Colonial Pipeline is, and about its abusive history, with regards to the environment. Complete and total neglect in regards to the inspections of their massive pipeline. And it's totally egregious, quite honestly. If you want to, and look, I'm not hating on anybody that protested DAPL or protested Keystone. Those were worthy causes. But if you guys really want to cut the head of the snake off, so to speak, Colonial is who you need to be picketing. Colonial is who you need to be protesting. You need to be lining outside and holding signs up and having sit-ins outside of the headquarters in Alpharetta, Georgia, and protest them, because they're the ones that obviously have the power and the pull to shut down a quarter or a third of the country, because of what exactly? I mean, yeah, you got a cyber attack, sure, but again, you should have been prepared for stuff like this. You weren't, and as a matter of fact, you've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars. The oil and gas lobby has spent tens of millions of dollars for years making sure that the government had nothing to do with anything that regarded your cybersecurity, and you got what you asked for, and you fucked up again. And you look, how often? I mean, it's too little, too late now. I mean, yeah, now everybody's going to want to talk about it, and good for them, right? I mean, I guess better late than never. But this is just all too convenient with the spill. Everything about this is convenient. Even the fact that, like, again, the cryptocurrency angle, is that even true? If it is true, I mean, it's just another thing for Colonial to have to deal with. Like, hey, you kept the pipeline off for days after you paid up. Again, egregious.
I think they were told to. I don't know. My conspiracy mind just going all the way to the top. This is very, 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 very convenient.
Like so much red flags keep coming up.
Yeah.
The fact that all this publicity is happening around this event.
But it doesn't have the most basic dumb guy logic. It doesn't. Right. Like, if you apply that shit, it doesn't fucking work. Now, when you go from there to putting on your tinfoil hat, like, there's no distance because it doesn't pass the most basic fucking tests.
Right.
And that's what leaves room for all kinds of fucking weird conspiracies to develop. But when you've got clear delineation between, like, look, we know that they paid the ransom and that they left it fucking off for the better part of a week. Mm-hmm. We know that. We know this was an intentional disruption of the supply chain. Mm-hmm. At this point, that's what that is. So the problem was created, the reaction was panic buying, and the fucking solution is going to be, we have to clamp down on crypto, regulate the shit out of that. We've got to implement the Green New Deal immediately,
even though it addresses nothing that happened.
Right.
Yeah. The Green New Deal, as it is written by AOCIA and telecom guy.
We've apparently got to, like, try to restrict recreational travel. So let's just go ahead and work on getting everyone into smart cities. Let's work on that. We're going to, in order to develop the kind of safe, secure, green society.
And with how AI is going to be integrated into our critical infrastructure, like,
Yeah.
oh,
This was just, it's a great way to rebuild. Like, it's so obvious.
To build back better, maybe.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay,
lowercase b's looking awful lot like 666. Just throwing that. I'm just
yeah, if you want to get real good, right? Tin Hat City. No, but just what really caught my eye the other day was the emphasis on the crypto aspect of all of this. Like,
there's
well,
so much
ransomware,
other things to
crypto.
go at this for, Steve.
I'm just having fun, Jones.
Just having a good time.
Scream.
I know. It's just funny.
But I mean, this is it is. It's fucking it's so convenient that you have to go. Things don't just roll perfectly in the direction that you want them to roll unless you go ahead and like carve the path out in advance.
Yeah.
See, I think the fact that the founder of the World Economic Forum ran a company that was once named a National Socialist Model Company with a dad named Eugen, and who also helped use the same company that was the National Socialist Model Company to help manufacture illegal nuclear weapons for apartheid South Africa after being mentored by Henry Kissinger. I think that really just falls right into the palm of your hand, really. It's just too perfect.
I've been noticing something else with this too. They're very hesitant. They'll say it's Russians, but like Biden was like, it was in Russia, but it wasn't on behalf of the Russian government. They're doing that on purpose. Like, they're making it confusing and unclear on purpose because that's the best way to like do a broad.
So would you say they're manufacturing confusion?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I would think so. I don't know.
I am gonna write the fucking book. I am. I actually started like doing chapter outlines.
Right on.
A couple.
I'll give you the French clap.
The French clap.
I mean,
if you got to get out of here,
no,
I know, huh?
A few more minutes. I got a few more minutes to hang out. Man.
Okay.
But talk your shit then, Robbie.
Yeah.
I mean, look. I mean, at this point, I'm kind of just frustrated with the whole situation as a whole. I mean, I've been covering the pipeline, the spill in particular, trying to get some kind of answers for the community that's having to deal with it, because they're not getting any answers from Colonial Pipeline. They're not getting any answers from the government. Literally, the only people that I've seen even take an interest in this case is the North Carolina state regulators and I mean, PIMSA, the federal regulatory body, has actually, entered the chat, so to speak, but the EPA doesn't care. The DOJ is no commenting. Every politician, every media outlet, or almost every media outlet that's not like really super local to the area hasn't said anything about it. And it's like just really weird to have been like in a space pretty much all by yourself for months.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden look around and see all the Doctor Strange portals opening behind you, and then everybody just kind of flying out of it out of nowhere. And you're looking around like, oh, I mean, it's not, except you're not happy to see them.
Right.
Because all they're going to do now is just dilute the airwaves and make it harder to get the attention on the spill. I mean, not only is it going to be, would it be far-fetched that Colonial Pipeline says, hey, our system disruption kind of made it hard for us to do some of these tests that we wanted to do, or, do some of these measurements. And again, I'm just speculating, but again, given Colonial's track record, this isn't something I would put past them because they've been supremely dishonest at every turn, whether it comes from the spill or it's coming from the hack. They've just been completely full of shit.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess it comes back to where I was going, I guess, with the whole, the dumb narratives from the left on this, the really dumb narratives from the right on this. you can't blame Joe Biden. Yeah, the buck may technically stop at Joe Biden, but honestly, this is not Biden's fault.
Right.
This is
Colonial.
Colonial, all
Mhm.
of it, and this is on the oil and gas lobby,
Mhm.
and this is on. If you're gonna blame the federal government, you have to blame it as a whole for decades of just basically shoving this entire issue, both pipeline security as far as integral or physical security, and even in later years, pipeline cybersecurity. It's never been a priority for the U.S. government, and they've given the oil industry everything they've ever wanted on the subject. The $2.2 trillion or whatever it was infrastructure bill that whatever Biden came out with. I always confuse the numbers on that. I feel like so if it's not trillion,
It's
but
fine.
but honestly, as far as I know, it says nothing about pipelines, which happen to be infrastructure. It says
Correct.
nothing about cybersecurity, which is convenient that they say, well, we need this, we need more cybersecurity, we need all that, but you haven't cared until now.
Right.
You haven't cared enough to do anything about it until it was too late, which is how our government reacts to everything. It's always in 2020 vision. Well, we should have been prepared for this. We should have been prepared for that. People have been telling you to be prepared for this for years, and you ignored them. And now you can't blame anybody, but again, blame Congress. But not just the people in Congress now. Blame the people that have been serving in Congress for years that have kicked this to the curb. Blame Colonial Pipeline, who doesn't care about how many leaks they have, obviously physically or electronically or cybersecurity. They don't care. They run the shittiest company. Honestly, how do they even run a business?
Right.
It baffles them.
Americans for prosperity, because they're also
they're not just
owned by the Cokes.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, Steve, it's
and
funny.
Didn't Corey say they're on Business Roundtable too?
Business Roundtable.
Yeah, they're in all the good places to be.
Well, here's the thing. Like I always wondered, hey, what's it going to take for liberal media to pick up on the Colonial Pipeline spill? I mean, because maybe if they found out that they were owned by Koch Industries, maybe somebody would care. And it's funny. I saw finally tweets last night, like Robert Reich finally had the epiphany that Koch Industries was the primary owner. Did you know that Koch Industries owned 28% of Colonial Pipeline?
Yes.
Like, yes, bitch, I did know that.
Yeah.
I've been telling you, I've been trying to tell people that. Not that it's really all that giant of a deal, because whoever owns it is still shit. It could be Koch, it could be Vanguard, it could be BlackRock. It doesn't really matter. But what matters is that you guys only seem to care about shit that the Koch brothers do. So I was hoping that once you found out, you would actually, take an interest in the story.
Isn't it amazing how they fucking jumped villains like it's a goddamn old episode of Batman? And fucking instead of the fucking Koch brothers, for this episode, we've got Donald Trump and everyone who's ever said a nice thing about him. And then you just forget that the Koch brothers were ever a fucking, specter of the left to go after and be a fucking, sort of like I don't know, a punching bag. But a punching bag in the fact that it doesn't actually feel any of the blows that you throw at it because it's an inanimate object. And in the case of the Koch brothers, also
inanimate objects.
Big club.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, they're the straw man. They're the go-to, whatever liberals are arguing against big money on the right.
They're the right
go-to
is Soros.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely, and they act as such. They're both bad. That's what I keep trying to tell people. They're both bad, right? Because at a core level, regardless of any philanthropy they do, they spend tens of millions of dollars every single year trying to influence your democratic processes with their money. And that's not good. I don't care what your reasoning is. It's not altruistic enough for me. And honestly, I mean, my standards don't have to be yours, obviously, but I do not trust anybody spending that much money trying to, let alone influence government policy, but influence the elections is the biggest thing. As a campaign finance reformist, I don't have time for excuses on, oh, well, you can't dislike Soros because it's anti-Semitic or whatever. It's like, no, I dislike Soros because he still invests in Energy Transfer Partners, for one, who owns Dakota Access Pipeline. He invests in United Health. He invests in a ton of terrible companies. He throws his money around anonymously. We don't even know, and he's not the only one that does it. But I'm not going to support anybody that does it. That includes the Kochs. But you would think, since the Kochs are such the boogeyman, because Adelson's dead now, and there's only one Koch left. They're going to have to find a new one soon. It's probably going to be Peter Thiel. Let's just be for real. But until then, we still have one Koch left, and there still might be some kind of interest, you would think, from resistance liberals that are supposed to care about this type of stuff, and they just don't. And I don't know how they just don't. They're fucking posers, and it sucks.
Well, and even if people do catch Peter Thiel, then they don't catch his partner Alex Karp. The nice little liberal, multiracial Jewish man who,
I'm glad
who's
you brought
literally using his fear of getting attacked by white supremacists as a way to increase security and predictive policing on people of color. And Alex Karp just gets a freebie?
Well, let me give you something about Alex Karp.
Washington Post was having talks with him about COVID-19 just this January because as we all know, Palantir was so embedded into Op Warp Speed and the whole vaccine rollout, because even though, Op Warp Speed might not be a thing with Biden, Palantir is still being contracted by the National Guard and by local law enforcement agencies as part of either their policing or their vaccine rollout. So they're still heavily embedded in this whole process, regardless of which tool in the White House is playing PR for them.
And as far as Alex Karp, Alex, sometimes our products are used to kill people, Karp, they are, and it's just funny, how Karp, you're right, is so close to what everybody would consider a right-wing mega donor in Peter Thiel. It's funny that Soros Fund Management invested a shit ton of money in Palantir years ago and didn't disclose it for forever. And then just so happened, once Soros Fund Management decided that they wanted to announce they wanted to sell their stake in Palantir because they don't agree with the way it does business and blah, blah, blah. Even going so far as Soros saying that he did not know that the fund manager made the giant, and I mean giant, almost bigger than anything you have in your portfolio sized purchase of Palantir shares, and said that, I didn't know about it, and the person that made the transaction is no longer with the company. Are you fucking kidding me?
Fuck off, George Soros,
you're so
please.
plugged in, and you don't know what Palantir is and what they're like. They were funded by InQtel from the beginning, and I don't care, man. That's a red flag. That's anybody that invests in that. And coincidentally, since Soros has said that he wanted to sell his stake, the stock price of Palantir has completely jumped through the roof. And his stake is worth hella way more than it was. But I didn't know. I'm only one of the most influential and plugged in people on the entire planet, but I didn't know that somebody that worked at my hedge fund was making a portfolio best move in a InQtel funded data mining firm whose products have been used to power AI drones that fucking kill people, or in data. Come on, dude! It's just so weak. It's weak.
And people won't criticize him. Bullshit. You're anti. I'm so freaking tired of that.
But the 6 degrees from Peter Thiel to George Soros is one.
Oh yeah, there's
one.
not 6, right?
It's 1 degree. His name is Alex Karp. That just shows you it's all one thing. It's not two parties. Like when you pull the lever, the trolley goes from red to blue. You've seen the one where they're all all the bodies are the train tracks, and there's the one car of the train going over all the bodies on the train track, and there's that one dude with the lever. When you pull the lever, changes the color of the trolley from red to blue.
Mhm.
But either way, they're still running you over every
Mhm.
single time. And
That's
it's
all we're
so
ever trying to say.
it's incredible how they get away with it, and just like nobody cares.
It's
I
This
know.
politician will
but
save us.
even at this
Well,
point.
no,
I
because we've
know.
been pushing Biden left. Come on, guys.
I'm sorry.
Well, no, I mean, even people who like will admit that yes, it's an oligarchy. Yes, we're corrupt. You know, the like leadership at every level of everything that even approaches a position of perceived power, corrupt to the fucking core. But there's a couple brave patriots who are going to be able to topple this system from the inside.
Yep.
As long as you keep donating.
Yeah. Just pay up a little more. A little more. Just a little more. Then they'll do it.
Trust the plan.
I mean, come on.
How
you
can I
know,
not roll my
look,
eyes?
I'm sorry, dude. I'm sorry. Like, I know that people like want to have just. Can I put a little bit of hope in this thing? Can I put just a little bit? No.
Yeah, no. It just no. I know.
And it's
You
not like we
can't.
have no hope either, because we do. Otherwise, we wouldn't be fucking activists. And it's
Yeah.
like, listen,
I
we
have
punch
nothing
so
else.
far. Like, we punch so far above above our weight. You'd swear we're anime protagonists. Like, bruh, it's. I spammed the Secretary General of Reporters Without Borders. Like we stood in front of the Department of Justice and CNN protesting them. Like, we're punching way above our
All
weight
the way
here.
above our weight. But look, dude, we're
But
not.
we're still gonna
alone.
do
We're
it.
not- It's not like we're out here by ourselves, right? I mean, MCSC Network just got bigger today, but like, I mean, we've been, mobbing
Hey.
up now for a little bit. We're about to kick a fucking giant hole in this fucking whole media landscape. We already are. People have to catch up to us every day.
Yeah,
And a
come on,
lot
guys.
of it is because of Robbie Jaeger right there. You
Yeah,
know, I mean, like,
fantastic work.
but when I say that we're not alone, I just got an email from Ty Clevenger, who is the lawyer who is filing all of the FOIA requests in the Seth Rich case. He's the guy who's representing Ed Butowski. He's like missed an email I sent him, gave me his phone number, and is like, "You fucking call me right now, buddy." You know, like we can do this. We need to stop putting all of our fucking hope into people that want to kill us or don't look at us as human beings.
Yes,
That's all.
guys.
I'm here for you while you're, getting there. And if you never get there, okay, but
None
it's
but love
just
for you, but
right.
like,
But
don't. You just
that's
gonna
all I
have to
got.
be mad about it.
Yeah.
Then, like,
Yeah.
I don't know, Robbie. You put it perfectly the other day. It was a couple weeks ago, but you were like, "How could you let your irrational hatred of the MCSE network prevent you from covering the largest fucking gas spill in U.S. history?"
And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes that crosses my mind. Is that there has been a lot of manufactured bullshit controversy that gets thrown our way, but also the fact that and I don't feel this way just about us. I feel this about just in general. I had to give I will give you props on good work when what you are reporting on is important and factual. And if you hate us more than you care about a gas spill, which could be the largest in history, then you're neither an activist or a journalist. You're a fucking fraud.
Yeah.
I mean, you're an opportunist. I mean, that's all you are. Because if you cared about this, I mean, dude, I'm not gonna say. I mean, I'm not trying to like toot my own horn, but for months, literally, when you search Colonial Pipeline under the Twitter and hit latest, you'd only see literally almost 2 accounts, maybe 3, including Misty, because she's on it, right? But 2 accounts. You'd see Colonial's account and mine. All right. So I know like nobody was talking about it because I was checking. I want to see, is it picking up steam? Does anybody care? And they never did. And again, if you don't want to report on it because we blew the top off of it, fine. I mean, but just admit that you're not an activist or a journalist. What you are is you're a poser, and you're not contributing anything at all. And you need to get out of the way and let somebody else that actually wants to do real work come and fucking do their actual work, because there's work to be done, and you're just wasting our time, quite honestly. And again, I know, like, there at first it was like nobody's heard of it, but I know that the resistance liberal nut jobs that supposedly care about this shit heard about it, because if nothing else, Jimmy fucking Dore covered it, and they stalk his account and watch every video that he ever does. The people that hate him are his most rabid fans. And like, I will, but I know they know about it. Is what I'm saying, because they watch every second he breathes.
They do,
and they cut it up into little piss in Twitter. Like, and I don't even understand how you could do that. I mean, quite honestly, it's like you're sitting there intentionally hate fucking your own self all day long, watching somebody you absolutely loathe, and putting their chopping up their clips, watching them endlessly on repeat all day long. Like, how do you live that way? Are you
miserable?
Like, it's the worst kind of sadism that I've ever seen in my entire life.
Just take that as, like, listen, if you're pissed at MCSC for being the only person to do any sort of reporting on a topic, then take that as a challenge to report on it better yourself. They're like, just say, okay, well, you know what? I don't want to get any coverage from this guy, so I'm just going to follow the story myself and do an even better job than them. Like, please.
Do it.
Like, the last couple times that Robbie was on here talking about the spill, I literally said it. Like, hey, Sunrise, I think you're a co-opted piece of shit. Please prove me wrong. Take these criticisms as an opportunity to prove us wrong and shove it in our faces. Please do that.
They won't, though, because they have no intention of doing that. They're just, that's not what they're here for. So fuck them.
They just proved this right.
No, I mean, I get what you're saying. Right. Just, I don't see it happening. I would love to, but I don't.
Yeah, because these people are such fucking opportunist pussies.
Yes,
like,
they won't money.
They won't let, like, a little, like, competitive drive kick in and try to actually report something. Like, no, instead they'll punch down.
Because that would have to sometimes put them, if they were, genuine in their reporting or wanted to go, I guess, as far as other, as some other people, that would put them in uncomfortable positions where they would have to, they would make enemies, because sometimes the truth is going to take you places that it's not going to be comfortable. So, like, for example, a lot of us now get called right-wing or QAnon just because the truth takes you places where maybe, it's like a lot of left-wing people. They're like, oh, my God, that's like QAnon, just because it's an uncomfortable truth. So people are quite shallow. I'm so fed up with it. I just ignore it at this point.
Because of the way that narrative management works, because of the way that limited hangouts work and shit like that. Like, you have to, for a long time, up until 9/11, conspiracy in general was some crazy left-wing pinko commie bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what you were
like
supposed
the moon landing,
and you were supposed to treat it as some far left cuckoo bird nonsense. You were. And then 9/11 happened, and suddenly every conspiracy is a right-wing conspiracy. And it took a while to shift out of that narrative, because most of the people who were like, hey, wait a minute, dude, I'm not prepared to believe every word George W. Bush tells me, let alone the people that he's brought together to, do this 9/11 commission, were people generally like apolitical or in leftist spaces. And it wasn't until like it became publicly okay for everyone to hate George W. Bush and Nancy Pelosi became Speaker of the House in 2006, that like people on the right and a lot more vocal libertarians were going, yeah, let's talk about 9/11 a little. Let's do that.
Yeah.
And then from that point, all conspiracy became right-wing crazies, to the point to where they are now basically going to try and position Jason Burmis as the godfather of Q.
Mhm.
or Alex Jones, but Berman
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
loose change.
He's like the right.
It's
he's the
like
second in
9/11
command.
and the moon landing specifically. Those two psyops were used to advance like hyper nationalism and a neoconservative foreign policy, and seriously aided with that. And like criticism of that narrative is now right wing, huh? And it's something that's amazing to me because like even though I don't know what a pre 9/11 world is like me and my sister still grew up like getting into conspiracy theories. Like it was just a fun thing to do. To look at the facts presented by the alternate side and like go down the rabbit holes because it was just cool and it was really interesting too. And now like the way propaganda and narrative management works now is people are downright offended by any kind of alternate thought. It's like, well, are you a flat earther? What like how
What's
is
it to
me
you, right?
like
does it
how is
affect
that
you
gonna
that
harm you in
much?
any
Yeah,
way?
you're
Why are you
anti-
so
it's just
offended
like-
by that?
I want to
Like,
bring
why are
Dave
we
Weiss
so
on this
offended
show.
by that thought?
So fucking bad.
Unfortunately, guys, I do got to cut. I got.
All right, brother. Well, please
All right,
let
it's
people
good to
know where
talk
they
to
can
you.
find you and how they can support you. And thank you so much, man, for like always being on top of this
Mhm.
and
Yes.
like making sure that all of us in the network are staying on top of this too. At MCSC, fucking dude, it's
You're great
it's
work.
you.
Well, I appreciate you guys always giving me a platform to get this information out there, or at least attempt to. For those that don't follow me, you can find me on Twitter. That's where I do a lot of the breaking news stuff. I try to find something to break every day if possible. I do a lot of financial disclosure stuff there. My long form articles are on Rockfin. Both handles are the same. It's at Roblet O'Fire, ROBLET O'Fire. And as I always like to say, if anybody gets bored and needs something to do tonight and have 5 minutes of free time, I encourage everybody to read up some literature on the effects of autism, just so we can create a more educated, accepting, and inclusive society for our neurodiverse brothers and sisters out there. And with that, guys, I am out. That's all for me. And I'll hopefully talk to you guys soon.
Yeah, definitely. Much
Yeah,
love,
for
Robbie.
sure. Thank you, Robbie.
All
See you
right,
guys.
brother. Take care,
Take
man.
care.
Thank you.
Take it easy.
Thank you. Got a
What an
couple
awesome guy.
I know.
Got
He's like a just good person.
couple more super rays over here. Bubblegum douche, just for Glory's little dance, an awesome way of announcing the super rays. And War Deer
Ah,
Entertainment.
thank you. That's so sweet.
Oh wait, and there was one up top too. Feel obligated to roll one when you guys are on. This is from No Offense, and no, I
It's
won't.
always
That's
appreciated.
awesome.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Appreciate it.
I missed you, Corey.
Always. Because it's always appreciated. It's growing
And
on
shout
you,
out to all the
Steve.
shout out to everyone who's watching us live
Yeah.
on Odyssey. You guys rock.
Yes.
Please, folks, if you are watching us on YouTube and you have like some weird moral compunction about Rockfin, or you're still bitching about the chat, which I totally understand, and you would like another free place to watch the show live, go follow us over on Odyssey, and we will be live streaming there. Basically every time that we live stream anywhere else, except for what we do for the Sunday afternoons on Rockfin. And I got pushed back a week on the aftermath thing because somebody's like sick, medical emergency, something like that. I don't know, but whatever. But so not this Sunday, but the following Sunday will be live for the first time on Aftermath FM, and by extension iHeartRadio, which is just hysterical.
Sorry,
I was about to say, when you said we got pushed back a week, I thought it was because like they were rethinking their decision to let us on.
Wait a second.
You're like,
What did we
wait,
agree to?
this show?
Them?
Like, we sure about this?
We have the shortest run ever on iHeartRadio.
Okay, like 2 minutes, and then they'll cut it.
Pull it 6 minutes into the fucking episode.
Yeah.
No.
Not happening.
Let's
It's gonna be like, hey y'all, welcome to Slow News Day Live.
Yeah. Yeah. That was funny. Yeah, exactly. Like some music comes on in the background, like da, 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 da. Yeah. I don't know. We'll make it.
Like, we'll be back shortly. In
Yeah,
the meantime,
yeah.
please listen to some Alex Jones.
right.
Sorry, iHeart. Sorry, Aftermath.
Yeah.
No, the Aftermath carries Jones's show. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, well then thank you, Aftermath. And
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing here.
I don't
Yeah.
mean, I'm so
That would be either. God, this shit is just nuts.
I know, man. There's so much.
There is.
much
Well, I mean,
happening.
the ransomware document, the ransomware report, like we really need to take a run through that. We still never went through the Rand Corporation report from like a week and a half ago or 2 weeks ago. Like, dude, there's
I want to duplicate myself.
so much.
Like the word
And I
con.
really want to find out what's up with this dark side group, because I feel like once we know more about them, then that will either A, confirm everything we've been saying, or B, make it so that way a lot of things fall into place. So.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Well, and we'll be at least I'll be back in about an hour with Anonymous Fights Back. I don't know if you're in for that or not, Jones.
I don't know yet. Depends.
But and hopefully we'll be able to find out a little bit, because I asked the fellas if they would look into it, and I think Tyler's got a little bit of background on him. So hopefully we'll be able to update you guys. So stick around for that, or come back for that. We'll be back in about an hour. Tomorrow is our third week of the call-in show.
Yeah.
Would love
Get your shit together.
I gotta figure out a way to to get more. I've been so busy. I haven't signed up for more lines yet, but we're going to figure that out. And would like to. I'm gonna fuck with the format of this show. I think it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. However we go with it, it's gonna be fun. Sunday, Pasta and Fee and Johnny Buttons will be joining us for a recap and kind of thorough explanation, because I haven't even really been able to watch all of their coverage from Arizona.
Right.
But we'll get the lowdown on the audits and wherever else that conversation goes. Very much looking forward to it, though. Sunday afternoon for the Rockfin, I want to keep unbooked for news, I think, unless I actually booked somebody and I'm forgetting about it.
I can barely
I
hear
don't think you did.
Okay, that's all right. I'm at any rate, man. What do you got?
Depending on what time.
My homework.
What?
Will you finish, Glory? Go ahead.
I was gonna say, Slow News Day production meeting on air as always. I was gonna say, depending on what time the event I go to on Sunday for Nakba Day starts, I might be able to send in some stuff for that for our Rockfin show. So yeah. This Sunday and this weekend, there's going to be protests and actions all over the country for obviously what's happening in Palestine right now. So I'll be on the ground Sunday evening and Sunday night for that. And yeah,
Awesome.
you guys will know what's happening in our lovely Zionist haven of South Florida. But don't worry, I got some for them.
I'll be reaching out to Robert Inlakesh shortly too, and trying
Nice.
to get him in for soon. We still got to have a makeup interview with Eva.
Oh yeah. A lot of stuff going
A
on.
lot of stuff.
Lot of
We're calling
stuff.
Mike Clevenger back here in a minute. We'll set that up. I'd like to get Ty and fucking Jared on together.
Jared, yay!
Yeah. Unless they know each other and don't like each other, which is totally possible.
Can we get Jared to break his
Perfectly
mic again?
Huh?
Can we get Jared to break his mic
Please,
again?
no,
God, I hope
no.
not.
Oh my.
Everyone was bitching in the chat on that one.
Oh my God, it was so painful.
I thought it was funny.
My ears didn't find it funny.
Yeah.
Right.
You're like,
Okay,
no.
yeah. Well, there's a bit of an age difference there, so I see why my ears might have been more tolerating
I had a
of
headset on.
the sound.
Yeah, Josh had a headset on.
Oh shit. And then Brogan's just like, ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had one on too. I had my earphones.
I had to take them off for that one. That was nuts.
What do you
Sounds-
got, Glory Jones?
I mean, yeah, like I said, I'll be on the ground Sunday because so far that's when I know events for Palestine are happening in Miami-Dade and Broward County. So I'll be on the ground Sunday. Stay tuned for that to see what's happening because there is a small Palestinian community here, but I'm just interested to see that and talk with them as well because
Mhm.
they're fuck Israel. Trying to think of what else. Can't really think of anything else. I think we're getting a new species of invasive lizards here in South Florida because I don't see too many of the little skinny ones anymore. Instead, I see like these fatter ones with really curly tails, and I'm seeing them a lot more. So I think it might be like a recent development, and I'm probably going to look more into it because for some reason I get pulled into these nature rabbit holes and I can't stop myself. So yeah, fucking didn't need to hear that, but I
I'm kind of
shared
happy you did.
anyways because I'm Glory. And yeah, I've been rambling too much, but big ups to Steve, Josh, and Allie for letting me ramble like this because I love y'all. So,
Oh,
and that's my
you
outro.
too. That was good.
So,
No, honestly, that was good.
if you're so inclined, we'll see you in about an hour. I just dropped it into the Rockfin chat. I'm going to do that in the other chats too. The link for the artist website, who is responsible not just for the killer fucking background behind me, but for my and Glory's cartoon heads.
Oh, yeah.
And I got confirmation from Johnny this afternoon that like he had a bunch of shit going on, but he's going to be working on Allie and Sleepy Josh over
Really?
the next little bit. So we'll have the whole fucking crew just in time to start hosting somebody's an additional MCSC Family Members content here for a little bit. Gonna be excited to like break that announcement.
Yeah.
Is
Cool.
Josh's gonna is Sleepy J's gonna be like his actual face, or is it gonna be like
yeah.
a Tech Ninja deal?
No, actual face. I was thinking
Oh.
about asking Johnny to put a chihuahua on his shoulder, but to put the chihuahua in the ninja mask.
I mean, yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, there's an edition of mine that has me like flicking someone off. So
That's the Slow News Day NFT.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my god.
It's already made, Josh. It's already made.
I just hate that NFT shit, you know.
But it was funny.
it's okay,
Now
Tech
know
Ninja.
that
I
hate
got
it. Yeah.
you.
Everything's gonna be an NFT. I just think of Tim Dillon and he talks about it.
Buy Scoop Coin.
Yeah, Scoop Coin.
Buy
Truffle Coin.
Scoop Coin.
Scoop Coin.
And
Uh,
Truffle Coin.
Well, right. You should buy Truffle Coin too. Do not buy Simp Coin. Simp Coin.
Yeah, fuck some coin.
Scam. It's It's a scam. It's a scam.
Total scam. Don't do it. Scoop coin and truffle coin are the way to go.
Yeah.
Uh,
People are gonna look it up. What's Scoop?
what the fuck are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
They should have never gave you money.
You're peddling all this shit. Yeah. Yes,
There are a lot of inside jokes that we've made before, to be fair.
Big fat lucrative fucking iHeartRadio contract. Now we're peddling crypto and NFTs. I actually have not signed anything.
Moving on, then. I'm just kidding. That's a shout out. Okay.
I think that's all the whatnots. That was for you, Pasta. Or no, I didn't make it though. Whatnots. There you go, Pasta.
Yeah.
Whatnots.
Because you already say whatnot a lot without pasta in mind. So you got to add emphasis so we know it's different.
Whatnot.
Jordan, yo, bro. Freak you, Steve.
Love you too, Yell Bro.
Shout out to Yell Bro. We'll see you guys soon. Big thanks to Robbie Jaeger for, I mean, really, dude, that he's
For being a
fucking man.
beast.
Yeah.
And it does have real good. It doesn't make any sense that like the people that fucking live to, make hate clips out of Jimmy Dore's videos wouldn't mention the gas spittle, because the one time that Jimmy brought it up was to Aaron Mate, who was sitting in the studio, who like looked like a complete and total fucking idiot on camera, because he had to be like, yeah, this is the first time I'm hearing about this. After Jimmy was like, it's journalistic malpractice to not be reporting on this.
Yeah, I'm gonna call him Robbie Jaeger. I've never heard of this guy before, so
right.
think
I just got
Jaeger-
to set the push notifications in case I ever need to make a disclosure on Nancy Pelosi's financials, but never heard of the dude.
Yeah,
never heard of him. Thanks to my better than your co-hosts, Ali Alexander and Glory Jones. Thanks, Sleepy Josh, on the ones and twos. Everybody who's watching, be you on D Live, Odyssey, YouTube, Rockfin, or I guess I don't even know if we fucking still have a Twitch channel right now. I've never checked. Like I've never checked.
No.
we kind of made it and then just keep it there to see if they'll ever ban it.
Yeah.
Even though we don't do anything on there.
I mean, to be fair, we don't even get replays on there because we don't have any followers. So
Word.
it's literally
Right on. That's about right.
How we like it. How we like it.
We're doing well. Doing real well.
But yeah, we'll see you soon. ABB in 55 minutes. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. on the West Coast, 11 p.m. on the East Coast. Get your shit together. Our call-in show. And then Sunday, 10 a.m. on the West Coast, 1 p.m. on the East Coast. Pasta Jardula, Fiorella Isabel, maybe Johnny Buttons, maybe not. But
We'll drag him in there.
And yeah, we'll see you soon, guys. Good luck to us all.
Bye.
Love ya.